Jan Stuckey, you're the Minister for Tourism and Events in Queensland. Something that was launched, last year was it? Tourism and Events Queensland rather than Tourism Queensland.
Towards the end of 2012.
Okay, so a couple of years.
Yeah, the government decided to merge tourism events and Events Queensland into one super entity.
Okay.
And what we see today with this initiative is the opportunity that has created.
Okay. There's a lot of talk in Queensland at the moment about government expenditure and all that sort of stuff. So how is this going to put money into the pockets of Queenslanders?
Well, this calendar of events is estimated to bring in $380 million in direct spend. And when we compare that to the last 12 months, we're looking at an increase of about $100 million. So this campaign is going to run over 7 months, and it really does have something for everyone from all ages and all walks of life.
Brilliant. Now, in the launch, there were lots of big events there, big sort of cornerstone events. What about small events in small locations and small towns throughout Queensland?
So throughout Tourism Events Queensland, we run some 40 what we call major events, which are your bigger blockbuster type, but there's over 100 regional events that we also support. So it's everything from, your food festivals in some of the smaller regions to even some of their race days. We have Julia Dirt and Dust. They probably wouldn't like that being called a small one because that's getting up into that. It is certainly into more the blockbuster. But there are so many different events being held around the state. And what is important is by pulling tourism events together and by focusing on the 13 different destinations, they are able to identify what their iconic and unique attractions are, and we will try and match events to that.
And that event, often relates to the location as well. Final question, I know you've got to go because you've got a lot of people to meet here. Now, you mentioned about that the campaign's going to be in the southern states and so on to attract people to Queensland. What do you think your colleagues in some of the tourism organisations in the other states are going to think when they see this amazing initiative and campaign being revealed?
Well, I imagine there'll be a bit of a sigh and a scratch their heads and then, damn it, Queensland's done it again.
Minister Stuckey, thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
Well, Leanne Coddington, now you're the power behind the throne, as it were. We've had a chat with Minister Jan Stuckey, who's obviously the ministerial role behind this amazing initiative in Queensland of the bringing together of tourism and events, okay? So how much work has gone on behind the scenes to bring this into reality?
Yeah, the last year in particular, we've really focused on how we maximise events through tourism and how we maximise tourism through events. So bringing that together, everyone coming to how creatively can we take this forward. And I think the real strength of what Queensland has against our friendly rivals to the south is the fact that we have 13 amazing destinations and a suite of events inside those destinations. So that's what gives us depth across the state.
Now, there have been schools of thought in the past around major events, super major events like the Olympics and so on, that they don't bring the economic return that perhaps is anticipated in some locations. I mean, you've got the Commonwealth Games happening here shortly. How does that fit into this massive programme?
Absolutely. The Commonwealth Games is a fantastic mega event for the state, and so that fits in like every other event that we have, and it takes all types of events to make an event economy work. You need those huge blockbuster events like the Commonwealth Games and the V8s this weekend and those signature events that people epitomise with the state, but also the regional events, those little local events that really drive quirky, interesting activities for people to do while they're in a destination.
Well, you mentioned the V8 supercars this weekend on the Gold Coast. I've heard this rumour that you're going to be driving. Is that right?
Oh, no, that's a crazy rumour. But I'll be there cheering them on from the sidelines.
Leanne Coddington, thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Gregg, you're chairman of the Tourism Events Queensland, formerly Tourism Queensland, now with Tourism Events having been brought together into Tourism Events Queensland. How involved were you in this as an initiative, and did you drive it?
Oh, well, it's a whole team effort, but obviously the whole strategy was...
There's got to be somebody behind there, the passion.
Oh, we got John Montgomery, who's our Director of Events, so John's had a lot to influence on the strategy, but the concept of taking events to the next stage in terms of events can be great in their own right, and we know the economic value from an event, but looking at events through a different prism, and especially when we've come from a period some years ago where we had a lot of weather events and we used to get a lot of forward bookings lost. The people who did well were the people who had events and the bookings held. And to me, I thought, well, really what we need to do, if we could move the events economy from 10% of our tourism economy to 20%, it'd be nice to wake up knowing that 20% of your business and your destination is going to stick that year, pretty much regardless.
And at the end of the day, we live in a state that does have severe weather. And you used a very interesting phrase just earlier on about cash in the bank. So it's cash in the bank for the industry because people are booked, and people booked on events will tend to come in any case.
If you've spent all year training for a triathlon, just because it's been, bad weather and a lot of rain, you're still going to come as long as the event's on, you'll be here. So, yeah.
Are you excited by the range of events that Tourism and Events Queensland is talking about?
Oh yeah, most definitely, and it's all part of the strategy. Like what we're saying to all our destinations, not only should have their normal tourism marketing plan, but they must have an event strategy, and that's new. And it's only in the last few years that you're seeing like places like Brisbane, would you believe, in the Sunshine Coast and North Queensland. It's only been the last 5 years where the stakeholders in that city have said, yes, we need an event strategy, not supporting one-off events all over the place, but an actual strategy of what sort of events we should attract, what events align with the values of the destination and deliver the destination promise. And that's what we're trying to do, and that is a big leap forward for where we're going now.